Hello, viewers. Welcome back to the AI Chefs here in our deluxe executive studio kitchen. I'm here with good friend Kevin, my co-chef. I'm so happy to be here. The first episode was so much fun.
Yeah, no, this has been a blast. And when I hold in my hand, it's like unusually large. So,
Yes,
oh my gosh, there you go. So,
it's one
sorry,
of the problems with virtual reality and OBS.
I was being slightly distracted, but no, it was a huge amount of fun. And once again, to remind the audience, when we talk about AI recipes, we are talking about tips and tricks to make you more effective using whatever AI assistant you choose to use. And I think, David, you would agree, experimenting with these fantastic and sometimes wonderful, sometimes woeful tools. I think that's what we would want the audience to do. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, you have to try out new stuff. The AI doesn't know what AI can do. We've had conversations in our
Right.
private Zoom chat where I say, Kevin, I just asked Copilot this and it said this. It's not supposed to do that yet. And it's like, and then I asked Copilot, can you do this? And it's like, no, I can't do that. I'm like, but you just did. So yeah, play with it because even the AI tools don't know what the AI tools can do. It's crazy. All right.
No, that is fantastic, and I think and that's the theme, right? When you're in the kitchen, a lot of times now, I enjoy cooking, so I experiment and I'll throw in ingredients and what have you. The downside is occasionally people in my family actually like what I make, and then I can't remember what I did. But then that's the same with AI. Occasionally you try things. The good thing is most of the tools remember kind of have that chat history, at least for a period of time. It depends, right? Because I was just going back to something that I did a while ago on Copilot, and depending on if you're in work mode, it saves more. But if you're in kind of web mode, the kind of the free mode, it doesn't save as much. And I know, Google Gemini or ChatGPT. I mean, you talked about memory filling up and whatever. So if you're experimenting and things are working well, whether it's in the kitchen or in the AI kitchen, maybe make a few notes and to remember what worked.
One clarification. This is cooking, not baking. Baking is chemistry. Everything has to be measured exactly, otherwise your cake flops. Cooking, a dash of this, a try of that. I made a brisket yesterday. You know how much garlic I put in? Till it looked like enough. That's what this is. Try it. Try. Hey, maybe put a little onion powder in there. Who knows? Who knows what you're going to get? So this is cooking, not baking.
No, that's a great. I love the food analogies keep coming out because I cook, and my wife is a fantastic baker because she's much more of a rule follower.
I can't
Whereas
bake.
I go to the spice drawer and I make these great roasted potatoes because partly because I go to the spice drawer and just pull out spices that seem to be calling to me, right? And I think spice more is better. Look, the world should be spicy. But okay, so let's go to an actual
Our
AI
first
recipe.
recipe?
I
Okay.
think I mean, it's not duck à l'orange,
It's
but it's
duck.
close.
Yeah, it's not roasted duck. It's rubber duck.
Ah, okay.
Roasted duck is delicious. I always thought it was weird as a kid. Why do we got to eat everything? We got to eat ducks now. It's not enough to have chicken, but roasted duck is pretty yummy. But what we're here for is rubber duck.
Okay.
And rubber duck, there's something called rubber duck debugging, which I've taken over and transferred it over to the world of AI. And this is a real thing. There's a Wikipedia entry on it. I'll put the link in the comments.
It must be real if there's a Wikipedia entry.
It got to be real if it's on Wikipedia. But I'd heard the story before I saw it on Wikipedia. And the way I heard the story, there was a senior programmer who was very, very talented. He was awesome. He could program his, way out of anything. And he had a team of programmers, a bunch of men and women working for him. And whenever they would get stuck, they would have a bug they couldn't fix. They would go into his office and say, boss, you're the best. Help me fix this. And he would say, okay, describe, the code that you're working on. And he would help them fix the bug. And
Right.
then he realized something that was happening. I don't remember the percentage, but it was more than half the time. Not every time. Sometimes, they would need his help, but more than half the time, they'd come in and he'd say, okay, explain what your code is. And he'd say, okay, I'm working on this program. It's in this language. It references these libraries. It creates these databases. It transfers these things over. And as they're describing it, they'd go, oh my God. And they'd run out of the office because they figured it out. It's just as not even getting to the bug, just describing what their code does. They'd have this light bulb moment and they'd say, oh, sorry, boss, I got to go. I figured it out. And they'd run out of the office. And he's like, and so, sometimes they would really need his help to fix it. But those other times, like, why am I wasting my time sitting here listening to them figure it out for themselves? So he got an actual rubber duck like we have here, and he had it on his desk. And when someone would come, boss, I have a bug. I can't figure it out. I need your help. He'd throw the duck at them and say, first tell the duck. First tell the duck. And if the duck can't solve it, then tell me. And half the time they would give him back the duck and say, duck solved it, thanks. And the other half they'd say, boss, I need your help. So I've been using that with ChatGPT, Copilot. It works with, this is some of our tips are specific. This is almost all of them.
Right.
I've said from the beginning, people talk about having proper prompts for these things and the way, no, just pretend it's a person. Pretend it's a person who doesn't judge you, a person who doesn't say, why are you asking that stupid question? A person who doesn't say, I don't want to hear about your problems today. I got my own stuff to do. A person who's like, yes, how can I help you? And I've been rubber ducking it. A great example is the descriptions for my YouTube videos. I've been using ChatGPT for all the descriptions for my YouTube videos because they're no fun to write and it's not my content. The video is my content. I do that. If I write an article, that's my content. I write my articles. A description for YouTube, I don't think anyone thinks I'm cheating if I use ChatGPT for that. But what happens is half the time I wind up rubber ducking it. I go to ChatGPT. I say, hi, it's me, David. You remember me, right? That's our tip from last week.
Yes, from last time, yeah.
And chat, yeah, of course, David, you need help with your YouTube channel. It knows. I said, yes, I need a description for the video. Let me tell you what this video is about. In this video, Kevin and I, the AI chefs, give our 2 new tips for AI or new recipes. My recipe is the rubber duck recipe and Kevin's recipe is, and as I'm writing it, I'm like, I just wrote the description. I wrote it. Sometimes I don't even hit enter. I cut and paste what I put in my prompt and I bring it into YouTube. I've completely rubber ducked it.
But wait a second, this is like an anti-AI tip. It's like you type the prompt in, but you don't even hit send to the AI.
Just knowing that it's listening to me, just knowing that it's there.
In a non-judgmental way makes you feel, right, okay.
And as I'm typing, I usually hit enter to see what it says, but sometimes I'm like, oh, I like the way it reworded. I'm going to use its wording. And sometimes like, it's too enthusiastic sometimes. I'm like, you know what? I like my wording better. And I've started using it with other problems. You know, my in-laws want us to have us over to dinner on Thursday, but Thursday I'm doing this and Friday I'm doing this and I want to have pizza and da-da-da. And as I'm typing, I'm like, you know what? I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to call my in-laws and we're going to go out on Wednesday. I solved the problem myself, but having someone to talk to helps me do it. It's the rubber duck. And it almost is not an AI thing. You could sit there and just open up a Word document and type it, but knowing that if I need to hit enter and get the answer, it feels like I'm talking to a person.
No, I mean, that's fascinating. And I love the way when we talk about how you interact with AI because, you know, you are very, you know, you're less formal than I am. And that's taught me to be less formal, right? So no, that's a great recipe for making rubber duck. Don't actually eat it. No rubber ducks were harmed in the making of this particular
thing. Though, huh?
No, it is. You know, it was making me think. There was one hotel as a family when my kids, I have 3 kids, they were younger. We stayed in. And they gave us this little rubber duck was like in the, you know, near the bathtub. And we kept it for a long time. I don't know where it is, but it looked exactly like this.
There you go.
So, you know, and for whatever it was, 50 cents, it made a big impression. Of course, I can't remember what hotel chain it was, or I'd give a shout out to maybe they'd sponsor our episode. So,
but we all have those moments where we want to talk to someone. You just want to talk to someone.
And I think
and you don't want to bother a real life. I don't want to bother you with something silly, but I need to talk to someone.
Yeah, no. And I think that's a great point because just as you say, often you hit enter and knowing you even if you thought you had the answer, it's a non-judgmental. You're putting it in, right? So
Yeah.
there you go. So I'm going to talk about my recipe, and so my recipe, because I did ask. Well, I asked Google Gemini and ChatGPT and Copilot, and so I wanted. One of the things I actually watched a master class, like anybody who has a kind of a subscription to masterclass. WebEx one year, WebEx one gave kind of the analysts as opposed to a backpack or something, they gave us a subscription to masterclass. And so there's this series on generative AI. And so anybody who has a masterclass subscription, go watch that and then come back and watch the AI chefs. But one of the interesting things from that was an example where instead of, like, a lot of times what we do is we ask questions of, kind of the AI assistant, generative AI. We say, hey, what's this and what's this? And the example, was more what I then took to be the Socratic method. So Socrates, to explore a topic, would ask you questions, and that's how you would learn through that particular process, right? So a couple of things. I asked for a title, and the AI assistants, because I said, well, I need a title and a recipe for this, meaning tips and tricks, because recipes on our show is the tips and tricks. But it actually came up with a recipe, which we'll post in the comments, for the Socratic Salad, the questioning quinoa delight. So I've got two recipes, one I think from Google Gemini and one from Copilot. They're both quinoa salads, and actually, I like quinoa.
I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna taste it.
No, we're gonna make it, and we'll talk about it in an upcoming episode. But quinoa is like a super grain, so it's got a lot of protein and what have you. Okay,
Very healthy.
so here's how you use the Socratic method, as opposed to like asking questions of the AI. You ask the AI to ask you questions. So here's how it could work.
Oh, you're reversing it. You're having it Socratic back at you.
Yeah, which is kind of cool. So I'm gonna show you how this works. So my son recommended that I read this book, Marcus Aurelius Meditations. So Marcus Aurelius was born in I'll get it wrong, but I'm going to say it was like 121 A.D. and he was an emperor. And so he wrote down his personal journals, and a lot of it came into Stoic philosophy. Anyway, this is a tough read. So my son is like become incredibly intellectual, and anyway, like this is like reading Shakespeare, where like every line has a footnote, and there's more end notes than there is content. It's work. It's work. So but I'm reading it and I'm learning, and I think it's very interesting, and it's good to do work, and but what I did say, so I'm just looking at here, which I gotta just like bring up. But so what I said is, I said, hey, whatever, hey AI, like I read this, but I want to explore this using the Socratic method. So can you ask me questions about Marcus Aurelius's meditation?
I never thought of doing that.
Right, and this is the thing. And so effectively, so here's the thing, and it is very enthusiastic, and it is always telling you you're doing a good job, right? So I say da 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 da. Let me just see. I'm just bringing this up and da da da. Okay, so it says absolutely. So I said, can you ask me questions as a way to explore this topic? And it says absolutely. Let's delve deeper into the themes of meditations and the connection to Stoicism. Questions for exploration. Then it asked me 5 questions, and I go like, "Whoa, wait! Please ask me one question at a time."
Slow it down.
And then, of course, it's very patient. It's just what you're saying, David. It says, "My apologies for overwhelming you with questions. Let's take it one step at a time."
It's the nicest friend I've ever. I'm sorry to my nice friends, but it's the nicest friend I've ever had.
Yeah. So it says, "Here's the first question. Dichotomy of control. Can you think of a situation in your life where you struggled to distinguish between what was inside your control and wasn't? How might Aurelius, the guy, right, the emperor, advise you and help in this situation? Take your time to reflect on this question, and I'm eager to hear your thoughts," right? So then I give an answer, and then, of course, and this is where it's super enthusiastic. So it's, it says, That's very insightful and relatable situation. It perfectly highlights the
It
struggle
loves your answer.
we often face. It's just like, I'm knocking it out of the park. But then we go through and we do all of this, and it really does help you explore. And so that's the Socratic method recipe. But here's the wrinkle I also want to add. So Enable UC, we created this trivia engine for teams, a product. And so I use the Socratic method with this time it was Copilot to say, hey, I want to, come up with a unique value prop for this. So ask me questions about this.
Mm.
And so in that case, it says, okay, well, what problem are you solving? And then you fill in the details. Who's the audience? Does this apply to everybody? And then at the end, what you do is, because AI has a tendency to be general, and I was giving lots of specific. Then what I did at the very end, and this is kind of the plot twist, is I turned it around and I said, hey, Copilot, let's reverse roles using all the information that I've answered. Could you please craft a one sentence value proposition statement for Trivia Engine for Teams and a longer paragraph to describe it? And so, now we had this ongoing dialogue where I provided a lot of context and certainly much more context than, I think in general, longer prompts are better than shorter prompts. But by having it ask you questions, it was far easier than trying to write, like a 2,000 word prompt. So the Socratic method where you ask AI to ask you questions, I think is a fantastic recipe. And shout out to the masterclass Gen AI that kind of gave me the particular idea. And check in the comments for 2 quinoa Socratic recipes
For salad.
that both David and I are going to make, and then maybe we'll review it in an upcoming episode. So, any concluding
Oh my
thoughts,
God,
David?
I am so excited, but I can't. I'm first of all mad at myself that I didn't think about this because,
No,
you
I
know,
didn't think of it either.
one of the famous things about law school is that they use the Socratic method, and that was
Mm,
one of my favorite things about law school. Because I had heard about it, I'm like, I didn't quite understand what it meant, but then I got into law school. I'm like, oh my God, the professors don't tell us anything. All they do is harass us because they really try to prep you. They practically bullied us. I mean, they didn't just say, welcome to class. Okay, David, who's the plaintiff in this case? What's the cause of action? What are the
right,
issues? They
right.
really try to get you. They try to embarrass you in front of all your friends. They say, "Oh, so counselor, you're just saying you think that's the answer? You're just going to say to the judge, yes, Your Honor, I think that's the answer." Is that? I mean, they really get you with this, so it makes you think. I was never so prepared for any class in my life as I was for law school classes. Because regular classes, I would show up with the book and expect the teacher to teach me.
Right.
Law school classes, I'd be like, I'm going to get embarrassed in front of all my friends if I'm not ready for any question that could possibly be asked. I have to be ready to answer questions. And it is a great learning method. I think I learned a lot faster, a lot quicker, and a lot more effectively than the normal passive way of learning. I want to use this right away. If you're watching this on, well, where else would you be watching? I guess you could be watching this embedded on LinkedIn. But if you click through to YouTube, there's a new button under this video that says join. Let's Do Video is partnered with YouTube. So I've created a membership. You can join and there's perks that you can get. And I'm still trying to figure out what the perks should be. I don't know what's right. I don't know why anyone would join. And I haven't used chat AI to help. I'm going to
Okay.
Socratic method this. I'm going to say, I'll probably use ChatGPT. It's usually my go-to. And I'll say,
Yeah.
I've created a membership for the Let's Do Video YouTube channel. Use the Socratic method to get me to explain to you why anyone should join. And maybe that'll help me develop a better membership program.
Well, yeah, and the other example that I want to mention real quickly is anybody interested in artificial intelligence, and because maybe you're watching the AI Chef, I used it to say, hey, ask me questions to explore the topic of artificial intelligence. And it started by saying, well, what do you think artificial intelligence is? And then I gave my answer, and then we delved into it. And how does that differ from non-artificial intelligence? It was a fascinating, so you really can explore a topic by having AI ask you a bunch of questions. So it's been, turning that around. Yeah, I'll be
I'm excited.
fascinated to hear how it goes for you, David. Right?
I'm
So
gonna
we
I'm
can.
gonna tell it. I'm gonna say you're Socrates. I'm not gonna even just say use a
No,
Socratic
that's
method.
good.
I'm
That's
gonna say
good. Give it a
you're
persona.
Socrates,
There
back
you
from the
go.
dead, using your own method.
No,
Question me
that's
about everything I'm doing. Oh, this is gonna be
that's
fun.
that's fantastic. So, and I'm super excited for episode 3 because we're gonna review our quinoa salads, and I want to hear how Socrates, back from the dead, or at least reincarnated in a digital form, how that works out for you to explore. So
Yep.
that
And
that
we'll
just
have 2 new recipes. We got to make use of this kitchen.
oh, that's good. Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, David, and thank you for the audience for joining us and cooking with us. And please do check out the comments. And if you make the quinoa salad, yeah, give us some feedback on that. So
Yep. And as always, please like and subscribe and check out the membership I was talking about. I'd love your feedback on that. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in episode 3.